Hello my beautiful friends and welcome back to another video. I hope you've been keeping so very well. Today I'm really excited to share a whole week of vegan breakfasts with you. This is going to be 7 delicious vegan recipes. They are all designed to serve 2 people, so you can either cook it for yourself and for someone that you love, or cook it for yourself and someone that you love, which is yourself, for the next day. Regardless, I really hope you enjoy this video and get some plant-based meal inspo from it. Let's get into the food. I am deeply in my homemade pesto era right now, and it pairs perfectly with this tofu scramble. I start by toasting some pumpkin seeds and pine nuts over a medium to high heat, and I remove them once they start to brown. I then add them into a blender with some fresh basil leaves as well as nutritional yeast, a garlic clove, some lemon juice, olive oil, salt and some pepper, and I blend it basically until it's at like the desired pesto consistency, whatever that is for you. Then I put a frying pan over medium to high heat on the stove and I add vegan butter, followed by some firm tofu, which I crumble with my hands as I put it into the pan. After that, I add soy milk, veggie stock powder and nutritional yeast, and I mix it well. I love a bit of a slower cooked tofu scramble, so I reduce the heat to low and I leave it to cook and soak up the flavor for like 10 to 15 minutes. Whilst the scramble is cooking away, I thinly slice a zucchini using a mandolin before adding it in with the tofu scramble and mixing them together. Then I of course add in the pesto and I mix it all together, cooking for a further few minutes. And I always love serving tofu scramble on some freshly toasted sourdough, so that is what I did today, and I also topped with some extra pine nuts for a bit of crunch. This tofu scramble can also be stored in the fridge for a few days, so if you're someone who likes to meal prep, it might be a good one for you. Making this mixed berry crumble is super easy, and I start by adding frozen mixed berries to a saucepan over medium heat on the stove. I also add some vanilla as well as some maple syrup, mixing it well and allowing it to cook down before adding in some chia seeds to thicken the berry mixture. I mix this together well before setting it to the side and turning my attention to the crumble layer. I start by adding oats to the bowl, followed by some almond meal, salt, maple syrup, vegan butter and macadamias. I personally love using my hands when I'm cooking, and I got them right in there to mix all of this together really well and create that crumbly texture. Once done, it was time to layer the berry crumbles, so I used a couple of glass oven safe dishes and started by adding the berry layer, followed by the crumble, and then I put them in the oven to bake for about 15 minutes or until the crumble is nice and golden. These are best served warm with some coconut yogurt on top for an extra flavorful sweet breakfast. I'm gonna be honest, I think I have totally outdone myself with these hazelnut pudding oats. For the first layer, I'm making a tofu chocolate pudding, which I know may sound weird, but honestly, it is super delicious. I make this by adding silken tofu as well as some melted dark chocolate, vanilla and maple syrup to a food processor, and I blend it until it is super smooth. Then I disperse the mixture evenly between 2 jars and I place them in the fridge to set whilst I get working on the hazelnut oats layer. To make the hazelnut oats, I add quick oats, hazelnut meal, salt, oat milk and maple syrup to a bowl, and I combine it well, and I place that bowl in the fridge to set for a couple of hours. Once the oats and the pudding have both set well, it is time to serve, and I evenly spread the oats between the 2 pudding jars, topping with some coconut yogurt and a sprinkle of cacao powder. These pudding oats are so creamy, they are so delicious, and they are so great for meal prep. I just want to take a little break here to say a big thank you to my friends at Cosmic Cookware for sponsoring this video. Probably the #1 question that I get on my channel is, where is all of your cookware from? And all of my pots and pans, they are from Cosmic Cookware. I have been using Cosmic for the past couple of years and I genuinely absolutely love it. It's the best cookware I've ever used. Not only is it obviously very gorgeous, it's also non-toxic, it is non-stick, and it is super ridiculously easy to clean. And honestly, as someone who does a lot of cooking but doesn't love the cleaning and the dishes of it all, I love the fact that these pans and pots are so ridiculously easy to clean. If you have a foodie or a home cook in your life who really wants some gorgeous new cookware, I 100% recommend checking out Cosmic Cookware. I will leave a link to their website down in the description box if you do want to check them out. And I also always have a discount code, which is AmandaCosmic10, and that'll get you 10% off your order if you do want to try them out or get them for your loved one to be able to try out. A big thank you to Cosmic Cookware for making this video possible. Let's get back into the recipes because I have 4 more delicious vegan recipes that I think you're really going to love. I'm loving miso so much recently, and these miso butter beans have been an absolute favorite for me lately. I start by cutting up a brown onion and transferring it into a frying pan with some olive oil, frying for just a few minutes and then adding in the corn. I keep frying the corn and the onion up, adding in miso and soy sauce along the way before adding in butter beans, lime juice, plant-based milk and nutritional yeast, and mixing it well to combine. These miso butter beans are best served hot on some chunky sourdough, and I also love topping them with some coriander as well as some fresh lime for an even more flavorful and super fresh savory breakfast. Like a lot of recipes in this video, this breakfast has 2 components, and I start by making the creamy tahini sauce. I add a whole heap of tahini to a container before adding soy sauce, lemon juice, maple syrup, nutritional yeast, salt and pepper, and mixing it well. I also add in some water to thin it out if I need to. I also love adding a lid to the container and shaking it to remove any of the lumps that may have been in the tahini, and this makes it really, really creamy. I set this to the side and I start cutting up a whole punnet of cherry tomatoes, which I did into halves, and once done I added them into a bowl with some olive oil, dried basil, dried parsley, salt and pepper, and mixed it well to coat the tomatoes. Then I transfer these into the air fryer and I cook them for about 15 minutes or until they start to get nice and crispy on the outside. You can also pan fry or roast if that's easier for you. Serving this up is super simple. I just add the tahini sauce on top of some sourdough, spread it out so there is a nice thick layer, pile on those delicious cherry tomatoes, and enjoy very, very much so. To make these fluffy lemon pancakes, I start by adding soy milk and apple cider vinegar to a small bowl, mixing it gently and then setting it to the side. To a separate large bowl, I add flour, raw sugar, salt and lemon zest and mix well before adding in the soy milk mixture, vanilla extract and lemon juice, and mixing it well, ensuring there are no clumps. Of course, I'm going to cook these over medium heat in a frying pan, and I start by greasing it with some vegan butter. Then I cook the pancakes one at a time, ensuring they are nice and golden on each side, and re-greasing the pan with vegan butter when need be. I serve the pancakes in simple stacks of 3 with some coconut yogurt, some lemon zest, and a very, very lovely drizzle of maple syrup. It's no secret that I'm a tempeh girly, and I start this toasty by slicing the tempeh evenly and transferring it into a glass container. Then I add soy sauce, olive oil, liquid smoke, garlic powder, onion powder, smoked paprika and barbecue sauce, and I toss it together until it's all very well coated. I transfer these tempeh pieces into a frying pan and I fry them up until crispy and golden on both sides. A bit of a side note, if you're not a tempeh fan, you can definitely substitute for tofu in this recipe if that is more your thing. I remove the tempeh from the pan and I replace with some sourdough, which I've spread with vegan butter, and I toast the sourdough lightly on each side until slightly golden and then remove from the heat as well. Then it's time to prepare the toasties, so I start with some cashew cream, followed by some fresh greens, the smoky barbecue tempeh, and some sun-dried tomatoes. These toasties are packed full of flavour. They are best served hot so the bread is fresh and crispy, and all is delicious. Alrighty, and that brings us to the end of a week of vegan breakfast ideas. I really hope you enjoyed, and I really hope you found at least one new recipe to try out in your home. As always, a big thank you for being here and supporting my YouTube channel. I appreciate it and you so very much. The recipes from this video are down in the description box if you do want to try them out at home, and I will look forward to seeing you next week in another video. Until then, I hope you have a beautiful day. Bye!